so I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment. So this word is being spoken for each one. And if there's anyone or any place on this planet that you would like to have included, just think of their name now, that place now, and know that this word also includes them. So everybody's taken care of. Everything's taken care of. Good. There is only one life. That life is whatever makes up this universe, all of its laws, all of its qualities, all of its substance, all of its expression, all of its creativity in these infinite ideas that exist, that take form, in its whole process of growing and expanding in balance and in order and in harmony, its movement, its continuous activity, its vitality, its unchanging newness. This is life. And if anyone can think of anything outside of this life, the circle of what life includes is now expanded to include that too. So all is this life. All that is and everything that is this life. Each and every point of expression of this life contains all that is life behind it. Each one, wherever he or she is, has the entire universe around them. And so all this life is present. And all this life belongs to each one, and each one belongs to this life. And so what is true of this life is true of each one here. This life is living continuously. It is not contracting. It is not disappearing. It is infinitely, joyously, bountifully creating and creating and creating, and expanding its expression to include more and more possibilities for expression. And this is the life of each one. There is no death, there is no dying, there is no limiting, decreasing, and all belief in decline and loss and in lessening and shrinking is all erased, evaporated, vanished. It's not the truth, as each one claims that belongingness and that oneness and that inheritance and that ancestry and that DNA of this one eternal life. And so all of this life is with each one, supporting each one, creating this entire universe so that each one may live and express in this universe. This life is creating everything in balance just so that each one can be this life. And so somehow this life is for each one, with each one, bringing whatever is required for each one to live and to express and to be. And the truth is, each one has no clue what is required. But yet this universe, this eternal, infinite one life knows the right mixture of oxygen and nitrogen and other elements so that each one may breathe in this gift of life and experience it. And so this life loves each one, cares about each one. It has an intelligence that knows everything about each one and more than anyone knows about themselves. It knows what is required, and it has already created time and space and been creating for 15, 20 billion years. And life continues to express. This is the life in whose hands each one is dependent upon. And it is reliable, it is trustworthy, it is everywhere present, it is supplying what is required continuously, thanklessly. It can be taken for granted. It continues to supply and give its gifts to support each one in being this expression of life that he or she is. Call it God. To God goes the glory. And each one is now realizing this gift of life and all that it means. And that this life is given and it is not taken away. And so any human belief system that says that life is taken away, all human belief in death and in dying and sin and sickness and all that sort of nonsense, it is not present in this life that is living and that each one is a part of. This life is only thinking upon I am that I am, creating its next beautiful form. And it is and has been creating a new and beautiful form for each one to use, to express through, moment to moment to moment. This activity of eternally fashioning a form that is fit for each one to express this gift of life has been present without anyone's awareness, without anyone's help. And so this gift of life is reliable, trustworthy. It knows what it is doing. Its intention is to support its beloved creation. That is the divine desire. That is the life that is surrounding each one, that is present in each one, working through each one, expressing as each one. It is present in every single little particle, every single cell, this presence of life, creating its healthy expression of itself. And this is continuous. This creative vitality is continuously creating and supporting and supplying and maintaining each one. And this exists. And so any belief that, well, not here, and what about that? And any fear of this beneficent, loving, all-giving presence is all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished. In this one life that is this universe, there is nothing to fear. In this divine intention to create, to express itself, to support its creation, there is nothing to fear. There is only this one life giving all of itself, all of its mind, all of its heart, all of its substance to express and support its expression. And this is what each one is living in and surrounded by and supported by. The full force and backing of the entire universe is working in each one's favor. And so all belief in separation from this one life, all forgetting of this one life, of what it is, all minimizing and trivializing of life, all human trivial worries and namby-pamby little things that each one gets all upset about and afraid about and worried about, all concern about the little details of living and the big things about living, all belief in the possibility of something bad happening. It's all not from this one loving, creating presence, this life itself. And as each one contemplates this one loving, universal presence and its intention of always expressing itself in greater and more wonderful, healthier, happier, more fully supplied ways, all to the contrary falls away, is erased. It falls all back into the nothingness that it is. And so that which is cause, creating, expressing, being, living is the life of each one. And in this life, each one can rely. In this life, each one can trust. In this life, each one sees that the path ahead is clear and free, that each one is safe and sound and well cared for, that each one is guided, guarded, and protected to remain in the flow of this beneficent expression of life, that each one is always fully supported in new and unique and wonderful and sometimes wonderfully surprising ways, that each one is cared for, belongs, that each one has a place and each one is valuable, that no one is forgotten by this loving presence, and that each one is important. And so each one's living is important and it matters and is supported. And so it is in this life that each one enjoys expressing that which moves as an urge, as an intention through them. And with this truth, each one is able to share in the glorious, omnipresent peace of this one life that knows I am that I am. And in knowing this, each one is knowing that perfect peace that human figuring out cannot explain. The peace that is present and that knows always all is well, because this one life is eternal, infinite, continuous. It is all good, forever creating and expressing. And each one is this life. And in this awareness of this one life, and in contemplation and engagement in being that being of this one life, each one knows peace and harmony and health and full, complete support and love and belonging and joy. This word is the truth. I am grateful that this is the truth. It's the truth and nothing but the truth. And so let it be, because it's so, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, so welcome, Regina. Okay, so we have David, Regina. Oh, look at all the people who've joined us. Margit, hello. Arlene is here. Craig is from Thailand. He says it's 9:20 Sunday night. Would you like to know your future? Craig says, whatever you focus on. Yeah, you're right. You got it. Okay, so let's have our beloved Reverend Rich take us away.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
And so I invite each one of us to check in with your heart and decide for what you want to be open to this day. Something good, something wonderful. And given our talk topic this day, boy, is there something that you would like to no longer be afraid of? Let's be open to that, being peaceful and knowing all is well. So whatever you've got, open to that and know, whew, the divine mind knows, and it's guiding the singer, the speaker, the practitioner, the welcomer, the consciousness everywhere, the posters. It knows it all, and somewhere, somehow, each one of us gets what we're here for. And so it is.
So it is. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
Good morning. Good morning. And good morning to you out there, whoever you are. Oh, I see more names. Good morning, Robert. So welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. We are a loving, healing, inclusive community that teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for the spiritual growth and well-being of ourselves and the world. And how do we do that? Well, we do that a lot of different ways, and that would be in some of my announcements here, but it just came to me that I want to just remind you all that we have a room full of amazing practitioners here, and some aren't even here. They're in their homes or wherever they might be this morning. And if you're finding that you want support in navigating this world and getting into a deeper understanding, feel free to reach out and contact any one of us. And you know, we have 3 wonderful new practitioner interns. And the beauty there is you can see them at no charge, and it is their gift and your gift to them. So just consider that if you feel like you need some support. So I have a few announcements. They're mine, but I had to write them down, right? Here we go. It's kind of funny, right? So this Wednesday's evening inspiration is based on the book, This Thing Called You. And if any of you have that book or have read it, it is pure poetry. And instead of going into some sort of major lesson, as we sometimes do on Wednesday nights, or journaling, this is an evening of repose. We're going to take 3 or 4 of his concepts and then be guided in his meditations, and we will leave there in bliss. So I invite you to participate in that for the cost of $4.01 to remember that we are all one, which is kind of interesting when you hear my welcome. And the second announcement is that our Wednesday evening class has a Facebook page. It's a closed Facebook page called CSL Princeton Evening Inspiration. And if you are unable to attend the Wednesday night program, feel free to join that group, because I do post the notes from many of the classes. And you have an opportunity to even read some of the posts which are meant to be inspiring and guiding. So I invite you to do that. Don't hesitate, even if you can't come to the Wednesday evening classes. It could serve you. And lastly, and I'm very excited to announce this, my friends here in the studio audience, on May 23rd, there's going to be a happening right here. A happening. Everybody say it again. A happening. I don't know if you guys did out there, but I trust. So I'll give you more information about that, but save the date. And if you don't come to the live service, we'll meet out in the parking lot and have some coffee and cookies and commune. So I'm looking forward to that. So back to the welcome. It's very interesting that today's topic is fear. And when I get invited to do the welcome, I usually have a few days' notice, which I did, sometimes more. And I read, I ask for guidance, what would be the best thing to say, and something appears, and it's always fruitful. And as of yesterday, nothing came. So I sat and I read, and as of last night, nothing came. So I went to bed, and I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I said, I guess something better come, because I have to leave shortly. And well, I sat in the silence and waited. And let me share a little secret about me. Waiting is still one of my challenges. It's a little bit like being a 2-year-old in timeout, right? In this case, it's a good thing. It's like timeout from the relative to sit in spirit. Be still, Father, and be still and know that my Father is with me. I mean, it's a wonderful timeout. So I sat in my own timeout. And at 8 o'clock, nothing had come. And I'm thinking, this is very interesting. So I'm just going to get up there and talk off the cuff. And I imagine I could do that. But I'm not, because at 8:01, interesting, that one, right? At 8:01, something came, because I picked up this thing called you. I thought, well, I'm talking about that on Wednesday. There's something there. Well, there was nothing there. And I looked down at the floor, and there was Living the Science of Mind, my well-worn dog-eaten book. I need a new one, but I love it so much. When my dog was teething, it chewed on it. So I picked up the book, and there it was. And then I just felt that oneness with God that is something that we forget sometimes. So I just started writing, and I'm just going to read to you what I wrote, because it just was so beautiful to me, and I hope that it makes some sense to you. I'm going to start by reading the message that I got from this Living the Science of Mind. It's a little meditation. I'm only going to read a sentence of it. I know there is a power for good, which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary. I know there's a power for good that enables me to help others and to bless the world. So while I was trying to come up with the welcome today, I clearly forgot it is the Father within me that doeth the work. Well, we know we are never really separated from our source, but I obviously wasn't paying attention. I forgot. And I, Susan Niedt, was trying really hard to come up with a very clever welcome. It didn't happen. So here's what I wrote. It is the realization of oneness that makes the crooked path straight. It is the realization of oneness during which the access is there. Access to the one mind, the infinite mind that knows all. It is the realization of oneness with God that opens our understanding and embracing of our oneness with all life. And that is how all of us, every single one of us, are able to let our light shine and be a blessing to the world. In fact, on my Wednesday evening class, Ken Honda's whole approach to the world is to thank and thank. And in the thanking, you are blessing everyone in the world, and it just grows and grows, and the blessings grow, and we are serving the world. In fact, I want to read a little thing that came to me after this realization of oneness. It's actually came to me from Reverend Janice, written by a woman named Sherry Mitchell, who's a Native American activist and a lawyer. We are related to all beings within creation. Everything is interconnected and interdependent. The well-being of the whole determines the well-being of any individual part, and the whole is shifted by every action of each individual. We recognize that connection. There is one life, one breath, and we all breathe it. Therefore, when we take any action out in the world, even when we pray for ourselves, we impact all life. Realization of oneness. So I thought, as we just sit here for a moment, close your eyes or not, just feel that presence and see if you can get a sense of how big this really is. This infinite space, this oneness that we all share, that we are all a part of. Just take that moment. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here today. And now, Reverend Rich will inspire us with his music. Namaste.
I was shifting songs as Susan was speaking. And I lost the one that was the right one. But this one always works. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. When I say yes, when I say yes, I am so grateful for all that I have. When I say yes, when I say yes, I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, Reverend Rich, for reminding us that we are all so truly, truly very blessed. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I am going to read a prayer by Frederick Bales, and then I'm going to do a treatment. And so I speak this word in the first person for everyone who is listening. This day I move in a bright new world, which is the reflection of my innermost thoughts and beliefs. Consciousness is the only reality. Experiences are only the shadow thrown by this reality on the screen of my mind. This day, I consciously and deliberately align myself with the supreme consciousness. It always moves in right action. Therefore, my affairs this day partake of that all-inclusive principle of right action. I am surrounded by a circle of protection. The knower within me guides me in all decisions. The law draws me to all those persons, places, and things that tend towards my fullest benefit, and I, in turn, become a blessing to all whom I meet this day. I reject any belief in or fear of wrong action. My body is a temple in which God dwells. All of his methods and activities are those of right action. I welcome every one of these activities and throw myself wide open to them. Nothing destructive can enter or operate within my body this day, for I am deliberately choosing the most constructive modes of thought. My spirit sings this day, for I am filled with the consciousness of life, a life that is more than physical. I am tuned into every happy, healthy, successful person this day. Their thoughts travel over invisible paths to me and mine to them. I draw strength from them and they from me. I deliberately disconnect my mental pathways from those who are morbid or ugly, for I am alive only to truth, goodness, joy, abundance, and beauty. Nothing negative can find a foothold in me this day. No doubt or fear can attach itself to me. No accidents or mistake can occur because I walk in a path of right action, both when I am thinking of it and when I'm not. I release myself and all my affairs this day to the perfect working of that perfect law which turns these thoughts into things. This word that I speak not from myself. It is the word of the great God in me, speaking itself into my experience. This word has all power to fulfill in my life and affairs this day. It is the most powerful word in the universe. I release it to the creative law of mind, fully confident that it is even now being fulfilled. Let's take a deep breath and stay in this consciousness while I call into being this treatment for each one who is listening. There is one divine clarity. There is one truth. There is one mind. It is God, it is the all good of God that is operating in, through, as, and around each one listening. This all good is outpicturing in each one's life this day as exactly what he or she needs and desires to expand each one's consciousness, to embrace the truth that sets each one free, and to use these thoughts and this consciousness and awareness to build a world that works for each one, to enhance this world so that each one is truly living a life that he or she loves completely. This word is the truth. It is released into God's loving law. And join me in saying, and so it is.
Many pray a long way, they don't stop to wonder. The world is coming to, they let something higher reveal the way to greater love. Yeah, so the world is telling me, sing of liberation for the ones who are not free. Love can take us higher, reveal the way to higher love. Oh yeah, so we let it wash over us, we let it make us kinder, let it make us better, we let it be. We let it early in the morning, we let it hold us together, we let it down forever, we let it be, we let it. Some cried a long way, walking through this sadness, a world that needs to know love can take us higher, reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah, so the truth is telling me love's the only answer to all we need. Love can stay inspired, reveal the way to higher love. Oh yeah, so we let it get better, we let it make us better, we let it make us kinder, we let it be, we let it early morning, we let it hold us together, we let it down forever, we let it be, we let the love wash over us. We let it be the joy. We let the joy wash over us. Yes, we let it be. Peace, we let the peace wash over us. Yes, Just let it be. We let it be.
Yeah.
Vicky Byers wrote that tune. I love it.
All right. One of my favorite songs. And I sing that chorus to myself a lot with arm gestures. Wash over me. Whatever. Yeah. So I've brought here all these books, which DeeJah and Susan have already quoted from, some of them. We all turn to the same things when we're afraid. But yeah, I got all these books, right, because I'm afraid of the topic. So let me get lots of spiritual truth behind me. Yes, so we got Scott Allen says, go Rich. Okay, so, oh yeah, and people say beautiful treatment. Thank you, DeeJah. Okay, so don't get distracted. Focus. Fear. All right. Where's my notes? All right, so I discovered this topic. I have a lot of books circulating in my world right now, and I came across this little book that I've had for a while by Norman Vincent Peale called The Amazing Results of Positive Thinking. And I know that when I got the book, I flipped through all the titles and I'm like, oh, these sounds like great talk titles. Let's get this. And so that's where our topic came from. One of his chapters is called What to Do About What You're Afraid of. And I thought, well, that's good. We all want to know that. And then, so I published it. There it is. And now what do I do about this topic? Because I think that's our human problem. And it may be, I don't know, I haven't done a study on it, but that everything that we have as a trouble or a problem has fear behind it. I don't know. They say perfect love casts out all fear. And so, yeah, so let's get to that perfect love place. But the fear that I'm talking about today comes to us in two different levels, in a sense. So I'll address both of them because I have all these books. One is the fear that we are aware of or consciously aware of. Unfortunately for me, when I was younger, this movie came out about what could happen if you're swimming in the middle of the night in the ocean. And I have a fear of going into the ocean ever since. It's specific. I'm aware of it. And I tell everyone how much I just enjoy being on the beach, looking out at the waves. Isn't that lovely? But as soon as I try to enter in, I hear, da-da. And I find I need to do something else. So we have these fears that we're afraid of, and we're aware that we're afraid of. And then we have another level of fear, which I also want to address because I experience that too. And that's fear that is unconscious, but it comes out as symptoms. Anxiety, sleeplessness, all sorts of physical problems, heart conditions, mental habits, worry, obsessive compulsiveness, avoidance, distractions. And if you talk to, some people about, I don't know, I just feel like, this generalized anxiety, people will try to help you, right? And pinpoint, what are you afraid of? And I believe that this undercurrent of fear, there is no what about it. In other words, that the undercurrent, unconscious fear that human beings might carry around with them, will find a what. But dealing with the what will just kind of like lop off one of the tentacles and three more will grow. So it's like years ago, not that many years ago, when I finally got rid of my unconscious worry habit. And that was, let's say, 5-10 years ago or something. I was here doing this, whatever. And I remember I was worrying about something, worrying for days, maybe weeks, whatever. And I remember the moment, oh, it got resolved. And I felt the relief and the peace. And then I watched my mind scan my world, looking, is there something else I have to worry about? I caught it in the act. And that's when I realized I'm not worrying about something. I have a mental habit of worry. It's going to find something. And so we have an unconscious mental habit of fear that will find something. And that unconscious feeling or belief in fear or experience of fear, we will frequently even deny that we have it. Oh, no, I'm not afraid. I don't have any fears. I just can't sleep at night. I'm sorry. If you can't sleep at night, 95% of the time, I am sure it is unconscious fear. I have an issue. I wake up with complete peace. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just not going back to sleep. What are you afraid of? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm just not sleeping. Come on. Let's be real. So, we can deal with our fears on the psychological level, on the mental level, and that's good, especially when you've got, the shark in front of you. Actually, I'm not afraid of being in a capsized ship, whatever, that goes down, because I got some training of how to float forever in the middle of the ocean. And so if that's the situation, I can float forever in the middle of the ocean. And what I was told was, you just get very relaxed and you kind of take this kind of position. If you all want to know, you're relaxed and you're just letting, the water a little bob and your head's underwater a little bit. And every time you need to breathe, you just press your hands down and it'll just pop your head up and you take a breath. And I was taught, and then you look around for sharks and then you go back down. I know. And so I asked the question, So I asked the question of the teacher, and what happens if I see a shark? And he goes, oh, if a shark comes up to you, just bop it on the nose. It'll go away. So for some reason, I feel like, I can handle that situation. So I'm not afraid of being on a boat. Okay, which brings me back to something I believe Raymond Charles Barker wrote somewhere. Fear is never intelligent. It's never intelligent. Never. If you're feeling fear, it's not divine guidance. In my personal experience, there have been things that my divine guidance has guided me away from, but it didn't come as any sense of fear. Fear, the experience of fear, is future oriented. When we're in this now moment, and those who had us do that meditation of being in the now and feeling connected and being one. Well, right now, there's nothing to be afraid of in the now. So I feel all that relaxation happening in my body. It relaxes, right? That tenseness, sign of fear. But then as soon as I think about what might happen in the future, then that's where the fear and the worry comes out. And I think fear is of what we are afraid, what might happen is some form of pain. It's a fear of pain. It's not actually having the pain or the discomfort, because if you actually have pain, you're dealing with it. You're not afraid of it. You're screaming. I as I put my stockings on this morning, I noticed I had this big black and blue on my leg. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I socked myself while I was dancing sometime this week. I forget the details because I didn't matter. I was busy dancing. But, I remember that moment of ow. And that's what we do. We go, ow. But there's no fear there. I mean, we may be really unhappy and miserable and uncomfortable, but we're dealing with what we got. We're in the moment, right? We're not dealing with fear. Now, if you are in a painful experience and you're afraid it might get worse, then you've got the pain and then the pain of fear laid on top. So that's possible too, right? But fear is always about the future. It's never about the now. When we're in the now, we're dealing with the now. We're fully present. It may be comfortable, it may be uncomfortable, but that's where our attention is. There's no, as soon as we notice we're worrying, we're thinking about the future. And so that's important to know, because one of the ways that we can deal with that fear experience is to bring ourselves back to the present moment, into the now. And so a service like this, and with the spiritual practices that we have, even that song Reverend Rich just sang, it's my, that love wash over me. When I'm thinking about that song, I'm not afraid of what I might say giving this talk right now. I'm fully in the present, fully enjoying whatever is there. And so, yes, right? Being in the present is one way to not experience doubt, worry, fear. And yet, more is required of us because it keeps rising up. And it keeps taking form. So a couple of tricks. First of all, quite a few of these books, Norman Vincent Peale and Bales, they deal with the immediacy of a particular fear, particular thing, and they give you some mental, psychological things that you can do about handling it. Norman Vincent Peale, he says, step 1, know what it is you are afraid of. Pinpoint it, isolate it. Know exactly what you have to deal with. Okay, so that's good for the, that one level of fear that I talked about. Study the original reasons about it, get some help, get the fear out into the open, blah, 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 do your best. And Frederick Bale says, come up with a so what attitude. I'm afraid a shark might, get me. Well, so what? So what? Well, that could work. So I have to share. I was at Disney World with a bunch of friends, girlfriends, adult people, and there was this ride we were contemplating going on, and it looked like a pretty scary ride. But they had one of those little signs that you have to be this tall to go on the ride. And so it might have been this tall. I mean, it was short. And I'm like, how bad could it be? If they're letting, children who are, this tall get on, how bad could it be, right? So I talked to one of, all the girlfriends into going on the ride with me with that logical argument. How bad could it be? Well, it turns out in the little car that we were in, there's one seat that's the worst seat to be in. That was the seat I was sitting in. And as we're going through, there's some sort of dragon monster, giant dragon monster leans down right on this one spot where someone is sitting, that would be me, and whatever, all over you. And I screamed bloody murder. I'm trying to get into the lap of my girlfriend on the side here, but I was, seat belted in, so I couldn't. So I'm like, screaming and trying to get, and she is hysterical laughing because she went on the ride because I said, how bad could it be? Apparently it could be pretty bad. So anyway, famous last words. How bad could it be? Well, anyway, Norman Vincent Peale and Frederick Bales both say that, look at your fear and imagine, how bad could it be? I don't advise that. But anyway, Just do your level best. You can do more, no more. And so stand up to, Norman Vincent Peale says, stand up to your fear and challenge it to do its worst. Okay. Usually, he says, there will be no worse. For actually, usually, see that word usually, for actually, most fear is an unreal bluffing of the imagination. And that's what we want to realize. That is right on target. Our fears are a product of our imaginations. They're not a product of even physical reality. Physical reality is doing what it does. You do not sit on the back of a crocodile. Case closed. In certain conditions, you can sit on the back of an alligator. I was also taught this by some wise person in the world. So they said. And so I did. I sat on the back of an alligator, to my parents' horror. Anyway, but you don't do it on a crocodile. When we understand the things of this world, the processes of this world, we lose our fear of them, because understanding and knowing is actually a part of love. And so even I remember this little movie I saw. It was a wonderful thing. It was a subway, New York City subway experience. And some guy got onto the subway car and was trying to hold all the people up. And this one woman got up and said, no, don't do that. How much money do you need? We don't want you to commit a crime. We will give you money. How much do you need? So he's like, well, he said $200. And so she went around to everyone in the car. Look, $200. And how much can you give? And she went around, she gathered up $200. Here's your $200. You didn't commit a crime. We gave you the money. It's yours. And I'm like, wow, that would be cool. That would be cool. But there was no fear in her. I actually also had a subway experience where I was being held up. Well, somebody was trying to hold me up. I wasn't paying attention. And so they gave up. I swear. I don't know. I was in the subway car alone. I mean, it was filling up. It was one of those places where it takes a while for all the cars to fill up. And I was daydreaming. I was thinking about, I was going to visit my boyfriend, and I was in my fantasy imagination about him, and I'm looking up and I'm just imagining it. And I realized, like, it's slowly dawning onto my conscious awareness that there's a guy standing next to me going, stick him up, stick him up, stick him up. And I'm like, danger. And so then as I become aware that's what he's saying, I'm thinking, well, this has been working so far, just so I'll pretend like I'm still daydreaming. So I did, and he gave up and he went away. Oh, divinely guided, guarded, and protected. Okay, so when you are feeling fear out there in the world, we teach, and what has been shared in the readings also, is that, especially that lovely Bales thing, is that our world is created out of our beliefs. And the conclusion, therefore, there is nothing to fear, is lost on me, because I know my beliefs are filled with fear. So if my beliefs are going to be done unto me, then oh, woe is me. Right? As Job said, my fears have come upon me. So when we get into this teaching, when we realize that our beliefs are what are creating our world, yes, we can change our beliefs, but until we do, what do? I'm afraid. And so what I have learned that works, is a spiritual mind treatment when you are feeling that emotion of fear. And because they don't tell you to do this in the books necessarily. You need to be in that consciousness of peace. You need to be knowing all is well. And then you do spiritual mind treatment and direct the law. Yes, that's the preferred method. And until you got that, there's this another level of spiritual mind treatment for when you are in terror. And it is that there is only one life. It's the life of God and goodness. It is omnipresent. It's the kingdom of heaven. I dwell in the kingdom of heaven, whether I believe it or not, or whether I feel it or not. I am in the kingdom of heaven. And the infinite mind knows to obey my conscious word, which is this treatment. The infinite mind is now directed to create these words I speak, that all is well, that I am safe, and my subjective mind, the law, is directed to ignore my fear and my worry and all this negative emotion. I trust that this word, the law will obey, all is well, I know it, and so it is. And that works. And you can then not worry about feeling your fear. And what you can do, hanging on to this treatment, you can move forward. Trembling though you may be. What good is a God if you can't hang on to your God when you're trembling? I need a God that can punch the shark in the nose for me. So this brings out the larger issue of this unconscious anxiety, fear, sleeplessness, whatever it is, coming out as heart palpitations, whatever. And everyone, including Bales, every one of them tells us that we have got to grow in our belief that we are taken care of by a universal good. And that is our spiritual practice. And so we have those moments when we're consciously afraid, and we can do that spiritual mind treatment to get us through whatever. And I mean, back when I first came into this teaching, that might have been several times a day. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, whatever. But then there is the more intangible but direct project of setting that intention to really change your whole relationship to life, so that it moves from a fear, I'm somehow going to be hurt or harmed by this, that, or the other thing, or by my own fears, right? Whatever, it doesn't matter, to there is a power for good in the universe. And not only can I use it, but it is taking care of me. So that we can sleep, believing. Remember babies, when they sleep? Can you imagine yourself sleeping? I mean, a baby, right? A cat. Whatever, just upside down. I mean, can you imagine sleeping with that kind of physical abandon? Because there is no fear there. I'm cared for, right? We were like that in the womb, floating around, and to get that back, because we are born with that peace, and our fears were taught. We learned because we got hurt. I don't want to get hurt again, right? I mean, my fear of the ocean was taught to me by a very effective film. Ding. God calling. And so, and maybe we had our heart broken, and so we're afraid of relationships. And maybe there was some time when you didn't have enough money to pay for something and you felt embarrassed and you had to put some stuff back. And so we're now worried about money. I know that a lot of the fear that I have about money and scarcity, I think I inherited from my parents, who were, brought through during the Depression when limitation was very present there. And so they were always afraid of being in that situation again. Scarlett O'Hara, what did she dig up her potato or something? And, for the love of God, I will never be hungry again. Okay. How did that work for you? And so what we want to do is to do our spiritual work so that what the world has taught us or what we've concluded from our experience in the world isn't the majority of our believing. In other words, maybe you're 90% filled with fear and 10%, yeah, life is good. Or maybe you're 51%, life is scary, and 49% life is good. But what we want to do is to set it as a project to consciously choose to direct our thinking and our understanding and our relationship with the divine in a way that we can trust. And so that's what daily dedicated spiritual practice is about. It's about convincing ourselves, our psyches, that we're cared for. And so I brought my Science of Mind textbook because he has in it two sections that I always, whenever I think of them, I always think, oh yeah, I got to read this more. And then I forget because I'm so distracted by my fears, right? But in his 264 to 265, he has a treatment for peace of mind. Be still and know that I am God. I am the principle of peace within me. I am the manifestation of love within me. My mind is poised in peace and beauty. All sense of fear or doubt is gone. I rest in calm trust and rely on the law of spirit to bring good into my experience. Goes on and on and on. We need to convince ourselves of this. And the good news is that when you do a spiritual practice, right, we get right into the present moment. Right now. I don't care what's going on in your physical bodies. Right now, there is more health there than anything else. When I had to park my car one time in a very, very, very scary neighborhood of New York City, well, I had to park it there because it broke down. But I had to leave it there because I had to go and perform this night show elsewhere in the city. So I had to park, I think I parked my car like at 9 o'clock at night or something. And the show that I was in, I think it opened at 10:30 at night or something. There's another little world there in New York outside it after the theaters closed down. So anyway, it was comedy workshops that were being performed all over the place. So I had to leave my car there and I was like afraid. And I did a treatment. That all the good, all the love, all the harmony, all the peace that I know is present in my bedroom, in my bed, is present here. And so I left my car, I did my job. I think I had somebody drive me back to my car, that place. And yes, my car was there, intact. And thank you, God. That was for a conscious issue. But then to say, I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. I am the spirit of confidence. I am poised in love and reason. To know that this is true of you all the time. So he has He has that there. And then in the back, he's got these little meditations for self-help. And they're little ones. On 529, 530, listen to him. Ernest Holmes knew us so well. No harm shall befall you, my friend, for a divine presence attends your way and guards you into the all good. Loving kindness awaits you at every turn of life's road. Guidance is yours along the pathway of experience, and an infallible power protects you. God himself and no other is your keeper. Isn't that great? 529. Right? A circle of love. A circle of love is drawn around me and mine and all. No harm can enter that sacred circle, for it is the love of God. It is a complete protection from all evil. And then Emma Curtis Hopkins suggests this word, which I, when I remember, do every morning. Steadfastly facing thee, the truth. Steadfastly facing thee, there is no evil on my pathway. Steadfastly facing thee, there is nothing to fear, for there is no power to hurt. There is a power for good in the universe, and there is no other power. We want to convince ourselves so that we believe it. It is a brainwashing job. We've already been brainwashed to think the opposite. We now have to consciously brainwash ourselves to believe in something different, which turns out to be what we naturally believed when we were first born. All the good, all the love, all the protection, all the care, all the help, all the support that was around us as a baby is still with us now. It didn't come from our parents. It came from our divine parent who brought us those parents who did their best. It will bring the perfect form for us now so that we can, right? I sleep in peace and I wake in joy. One of the great metaphysical affirmations that has been around for a century. I sleep in peace and I wake in joy. I want to move from I sleep okay to I wake up not bad. That's growth. I'm telling you, I've gotten somewhere because I sleep in torment and I wake in horror used to be. But now I sleep in, okay. And I wake in not bad. But no, I sleep in peace and I wake in joy. We want to set that as our goal, right? And so that we can confidently move around on this planet and naturally expect good things and wonderful things to happen, and good things and wonderful things from the people we meet. What we got to deal with, we'll deal with when we're dealing with it in the now. We don't need to worry about it and forecast it in our consciousness. So let's gather all that together in ourselves and move forward now. Reverend Rich is ready to play. So let's have him take us out of here.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. This is the day the Lord has made. I will be glad and be glad it is. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. This is the day to be free, the day that I can feel my spirit set free. Oh, this is the time to this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. For this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. Oh, this is the day. This is the day my spirit's working its way through. Oh, this is the time to fly. Higher than high up in the sky. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is.
Yeah. Woohoo! All right. So we're all safe. We're all secure. All is well. Thank you, Regina. She's posted. If you go to our website, cslprinceton.org, you can always make a contribution there. You can also make a prayer request. And we've got all these practitioners and 3 practitioner interns who want to do that, know that truth for you. And we want everybody to demonstrate, including ourselves. Yes, absolutely. So that's there. Or you can communicate, and you can get more information about Susan's Wednesday night stuff. That's posted there, as well as here on our Facebook page. So all that's going on. Thank you, Regina, for posting that for us. And she posted a quote from the Bible, right? NIV. All right. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah. All right. So Scott said goodbye. All right. Alan, hello. Glad to see you. And Stephanie Ann was here. Joaquina, thank you. And she thanks you, DeeJah, for your wonderful treatment. Good. Cheryl here is Eric. I think I've got everybody. Robert, hello. Welcome, welcome. And we're done. And we're out. Did I do a spiritual wine treatment? This word is being spoken for each one. No. There is only one cause, God. And it creates everything out of itself and becomes what it creates. So it's not going to create anything to hurt itself. This God is not stupid. This God is infinitely intelligent and is always creating that which is a blessing, that which is wonderful. It loves its creation and it gives of itself. And so the only thing that the divine is doing, the only thing that the first cause is doing is creating good and more good and declaring that which it creates as good. There is in this divine presence no sickness, no sin, no suffering, no death. It is good. It is I am that I am. I am that I am. There is no hurt in it. There is no harm in it. It is perfect, whole, and complete. I am that I am. This is the life force in each one. This is the one and only power, a power of creation that is always creating and creating itself, its goodness. This is the life that is naturally, normally operating in, through, as, all around each one. Each one relaxes and lets it be. And so each one is now having a deeper sense and acceptance and embodiment of realizing the goodness that is this life and accepting it as natural and as normal. And so the truth is, for each one right now, all is well. Case closed. Nothing more to discuss. All is well. I am grateful that this is the truth. I release this word to the law. It's done. Amen. And so it is. That's the way it is.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let it be.
Awesome. I knew you, when I said that in the treatment, I heard the chord switch. I'm like, oh, he's going to sing it. I knew it. And I do that at home alone. This is what I do with myself. Very active in my home. Okay.